Betty, it's Wendy. Welcome. I have already recorded this video once and it messed up and something happened and there was no sound. So I'm fixing it now for you. This card is a fun pop-up card, and this cardstock that I'm using here is the Whisper White thick cardstock from Stampin UP, and it's cut at 3.5 by 3.5. And I'm using the Party with Cake stamp set, and I'm stamping in Melon Mambo ink to create the image or front piece of this stamp set. Then I have crushed curry ink here, and I'm stamping off once and then stamping onto the paper to create this fun confetti look. But I didn't want the confetti to be super dark. I wanted it to kind of be a light color, so I stamped off first, and that's just called second generation stamping. So it's a really easy thing to do to kind of get a different tone out of the same stamp pad. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my little piece of cake in early espresso. And this little piece of cake comes with this stamp set, and it's just really cute. I really love it. And I'm going to use the Stampin' Up! Blender pen to pull the ink from the top of the piece of cake down so that it kind of creates a shadow, and it also makes this cake look more realistic, like a piece of chocolate cake with like maybe a chocolate mousse filling. And then I'm going to go in with my Melon Mambo ink pad, and I'm going to add some Melon Mambo ink to the top ruffles of this cake with my blender pen to just kind of create an iced look and give it some decoration. The next thing I'm going to do is use my clear Wink of Stella pen to cover the entire piece of cake to give it some shine. The Wink of Stella pen is so awesome. It dries really fast and it goes over anything, and you can use it for watercoloring and other stuff too. And that's something that Stampin' Up! Sells. So now I'm just using my blender pen to go into the bottom part of my letters and create kind of a shadow, if you will, at the bottom of the letters. And then at the top of the letters, on the very top, I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to pull from the top down. So it just kind of gives a little bit of an ombre look to these letters. It's a little hard to see in the video, but it's there. And you can definitely tell on the front of the card. Okay, so for the inside of this card, you need, for the base of the card, you want mint macaroon cut at 8.5 by 5.5. And then I've got a piece of designer series paper here that is cut at 4 by 5.25. And I'm just going to layer that down. And this is from the Party, I think it's called Party with Cake designer series paper. I'll have to double check that. My Melon Mambo piece is cut at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I'm adding dimensionals to it to pop up the front and give some dimension. That's something I do on almost every single card. It's really hard for me to create a card without dimension. So almost all of my cards have popped up dimension on them. I'm adding dimensionals to this as well and layering it down. And that's that piece we just stamped. And then I'm going to hand cut out this little piece of cake and add a dimensional to the back of it and put it on the front of the card as well. So the front of my card is finished. Now you could certainly just give this card just like this and not do anything else to it. But I really wanted to decorate the center of this card and make it beautiful. So I'm using the pop-up party framelits to create the center of this card. And I just absolutely love how it turned out on the inside. So we're going to use a piece of basic black cardstock cut at 8 1/4 by 5 1/4 and scored at 4 1/8. And then you're going to line the framelit up at the point against the score line. And I'm using the precision plate here because this die has a lot of intricate little pieces, and so it's much easier to use the precision plate to get all that out. Okay, now I've cut a piece of 2 inch by 8 1/4 inch designer series paper, and I'm lining up the points with the score line that I scored at 4 1/8, and I'm cutting it so that the hip hip hooray is kind of in the center of the paper, if that makes sense. My goal here was to kind of make a two-tone pop-up in the middle. So I've cleaned out all of the little pieces, and I'm going to layer this down, and I'm kind of offsetting the pink paper so that it looks like there's a shadow behind the pink, and it really turns out fantastic. I'm just adding my glue all over here and then glue it down. So when I got all this glued down, I needed to shut this all the way up and like kind of push it all together so that it would know where it was supposed to be. And that's something you really have to do with these pop-up framelits. You have to push them down and kind of use your bone folder sometimes to make all the score lines crease nicely. So now I'm going to add this to the center of the card by using tear and tape. Tear and tape's a super strong adhesive, so I know that it's going to stay in place and do what it's supposed to and not fall out of the middle of the card. So I'm just using tear and tape to stick it in there and removing that, and then I'll adhere the whole piece down to the center of the card, lining up the score lines in the middle. So once I get that put down, the final thing is to just add a couple strips of designer series paper. So I cut those at 8 1/4 by 2 inches, and then I sliced it down the middle to make 2 1-inch strips of designer series paper to adhere to the top and bottom of the inside of this card to give it just a little bit more pizzazz. And then I'll use a white gel pen to, when I want to give this card, I'm going to use a white gel pen for the inside of it, because you would have to do that in order to write on the inside. Either that or a silver pen. Sorry about my head continuing to get in the way, but when you're recording videos, it's really hard to record a video or to do something without looking right over the top of it if you're trying to get it lined up. I'm using fast fuse adhesive here because it's a stronger adhesive than snail adhesive. So I would recommend for cards like this using strong adhesives. Okay, so that is my card, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can watch more of my videos and subscribe to my channel. I would love that. My videos, the other videos I have for you are featured right here. You can click on either one of those images and you will be taken to those videos. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I hope you have a fantastic day.